They can even, when you go to sleep, they can give you all kind of warnings and stuff in your dreams. If you get you some kitty cats or some cats. And if you got rats, you won't have that problem no more. Just the smell of a cat. The rat ain't coming around no more. So at this particular time, it's very imperative because the Egyptian temples used to keep cats. And this is the goddess Bass, which is the venerated cat. Now, anybody saw the National Geographic special last week on the science of cats, where they went around the world and they took DNA from all the cats, and they was trying to find out who domesticated the cats. And they took DNA from all the cats from all over the globe. People sent DNA of cats from China, Hawaii, Tibet, all over the world, Europe. And then they went down to Kemet and took the DNA from the cats at Abu Simbel, which is a Ramesses tomb. And they found out that all cats' DNA lead back to Kemet, and those were the first ones to domesticate the cat. And there's whole systems of science on the cats, you see what I'm saying, that if you got a home or you got a house these days, it'll do you good. Even if you got an apartment that allow you to keep a kitten, it'll do you good to get you some cats. But if you got a house, if you don't really like cats, if you don't really want to deal with a cat living in the home, you can just get you start feeding a couple of stray cats. But it's interesting how powerful the cats are. We got a cat that the other day, dog, let me tell you, we got a cat the other day, he's laying on his back, and the dog came up and was chilling with him. Now that's impossible now unless two dogs are raised, the dog and cat are raised together. So it's talking about there's another dimension. So that dog had to have been a form of Anubis, Anpu. You see what I'm saying? It had to be a form of Anubis, Anpu, which is the sacred jackal of ancient Kemet. You see, we also have these black Anubises also for sale. But this, but it's interesting here about this Anubis. You come to find out that Asa Hilliard, because each person down here represents the energy field of a god or goddess. Asa Hilliard's deity just so happened to be Anubis. And when Barack Obama brought the body back home, that energy transferred to him. You see, and that's why, so by the time he went into the primaries, that's why he started winning. And nobody expected him to go past Iowa, the primaries. But it's an Anubis energy, a Camite energy, and it can use stuff down here just like a dice board or just like a chess board. There's a whole lot of things that's happening right now, very interesting times. But the gods and the goddesses are in charge. But where are the gods and the goddesses? They are inside of you. Y'all all right?
All right.
All right. I want to show this one because this is one reason why they invaded Iraq. They couldn't read the signs. A lot of stuff. They invaded Iraq. Here is two eagles. This is on one of the temples. Well, they only have a lot of monuments left in Iraq. It used to be ancient Persia or ancient Babylon or ancient Samaria, that whole Mesopotamian thing. But one of the reasons why they invaded, here is a picture of two eagles. Now, eagles are not necessarily in that part of the world. The eagles that they're talking about here has to do with the United States of America. And here's a type of burning bush, which is nothing but the Kabbalah, the tree of life. And these are sephira. So this is the ancient form of what the tree of life would look like. And these two eagles are holding up pine cones. And what is pine cones? Pineal gland. They're holding up pine cones, and they're holding up a bucket of water. Water is key, especially to the Fremen. Everybody saw the movie Doom? The Fremen are people that nobody thought existed, but they did exist. They did exist. That's you. That's you. If you talk about the concept of people that nobody thought existed, I'm trying to tell you around the world, they don't know of you. You only know of you in Britain. And the people in the Caribbean know because that's your family. But in the United States and the other around the world, they don't know that there's a million of you. That's the Fremen. But the Fremen existed around water in the desert. They were water masters because melanin and water goes together. And how they keep you down is to dehydrate you. Dehydration and sleep deprivation. And melanin has to do with both. Melanin works with water, and melanin works through sleep and dreams. That's why they keep electromagnetic force fields or high radio frequencies going all the time, and it's just electricity. Because that shuts down the melanin. Remember in the movie Matrix, in order for them to go to the architect, they had to shut off the electricity? Well, that's what they do. You got a TV, you got all these appliances in your home, and even if you unplug them from the wall, they got a battery on the inside of them. You got a cell phone, right? And your cell phone, you might not have your plug here now, but the cell phones is going off because I've heard them since I've been here. All right, it's the same concept with the TV. You can unplug it from the wall, but they got a battery on the inside that's still on. And even if you don't unplug it and you just cut it off, it says standby. It don't say it's off. New TV says standby. This is an electromagnetic force field, you see, that's going all the time, that shuts down your dreams. And your dreams are portholes to the other world. Because that is where the war gonna come from. Now listen to me. It ain't got nothing to do with some race war or them locking down. Look, you getting ready to come back. You're going to wake up one day and you're going to go, I'm back. I'm God and I'm back. The return of the great old ones. That's who we are. But how it's going to happen? It's going to happen through your sleep. That's why they got you on lockdown with the sleep and you don't dream. Because the electromagnetic force field, you see what I'm saying, keeps things locked down. Keeps the pineal locked down. Now in America, Africa, America, the Caribbean, Mexico. I don't know, do you all have fluoride in your toothpaste here?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Fluoride. Sensodyne doesn't have it. The pink one. The pink. Sensodyne doesn't have fluoride.
Okay. So, okay. And the water, and the tap water. It's in the water.
Yeah.
It's in the toothpaste. Fluoride calcifies the pineal gland. It calcifies the pineal gland, keeps you from the doorway of the dream world, or the dream realm. You see what I'm saying? Why are they trying to mess with your sleep? It's not how much sleep you get, but what type of sleep you get. The quality of sleep you get. But sleep deprivation is one of the #1 killers, and dehydration. You don't get enough water, you don't get enough sleep. Now, I go through 24 bottles of water in 2 days. I'm trying to tell you. You know the 24 case? I go through 24 cases of water in 2 days. That's what the Spirit had me go through. You see what I'm saying? So if you ain't, if you ain't cleaning out, you ain't shitting, you see, then you on lockdown. But water and sleep, that's why they give you jobs. And the fluoride, you see, shuts down the pineal gland. You see, all these things working against you. Why? Because they know it's in the new movie that came out last summer. You remember Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1956? Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1978. And Invasion of the Body Snatchers, it's called Body Snatchers, 1993. They made 3 movies. The last movie they made called Invasion last summer with Nicole Kidman. Now, as you know, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, they always had the pod. That detonation thing in one of my pants pockets, in that black coat. They had the pod that they put beside the body. You remember that? And the pod takes on the form of this clone or what have you. But in the new Invasion, you just went to sleep and woke up based on a microscopic organism. The microscopic organism they're talking about is melanin. Microscopic organism. Remember in the movie Star Wars, they call it midichlorians. This is some good stuff. This is echinacea, gold seal, propolis, throat spray. This is excellent. It's excellent for chemtrails. A lot of the chemtrails. And if you fly a lot, like I'm on a plane at least once a month, and that's cut that scale down since the 90s. You fly a lot, there's a lot of recycled air. And a lot of white folks are sick all the time. Because I don't care how rich they get, they can't get off that pork. You know, we get a little bit of knowledge, and that's the first thing go. But pork, but you got to realize something here. Elijah Muhammad said that pork was a medicine for them. I said, oh, that's ridiculous. That was in the theology of time. And then I learned several things that in Europe, the Europeans had all kind of disease, and how they had to become immune to the disease. They used to have to literally put mud and walk around with dirt and filth to become immune to the disease. And the people who died a lot was the aristocrats. None of them ever took a bath, but they just didn't have the mud on. You see what I'm saying? So they would die. They was filthy, but they wasn't as filthy as the people that walk around in dirt and feces. You see what I'm saying? So my point here is, if you're trying to get yourself immune from the muddy, filthy stench of Europe, what better way to get yourself immune to diseases than to eat the pig? Because the pig has all these diseases in it. And so that's why it became the essential diet of the morning. You know, the breakfast consists of all kind of hog, you know, sausage, bacon. You see what I'm saying? Early in the morning, because that was a form of immune system. That was an immune booster, or that was how they became immune to all the disease, the pig. You see what I'm saying? That's how they became. So my point here is, it is a medicine for them. But they have this recycled air on the plane, and I can tell the difference. They have this recycled air, and they sick a lot. You see. And, you know, you're flying on the plane and all, you know, so I have to take this Echinacea Gold Seal throat spray based on that plane and stuff. But anyway, going back, where was I at? Invasion. The movie Invasion, you just go to sleep and wake up a new person based on a microscopic organism. That same microscopic organism, they said in the Phantom Menace Star Trek, was called midichlorians. And they were talking about, these are little intelligences. So now, let me explain this to you so we can understand what magic really is. It is said, anybody have people die, and your mama, your sister, your brother, your father, and immediately you can start dreaming about them. Well, you couldn't when they was living. You can just dream about them immediately. That is because based on the Hermetic laws, which is the laws and the sciences of alchemy that the ancient Egyptians dealt with, when your ancestors die, they go to live inside of you. That's why the African will say, you know, I am standing on the shoulders of previous ancestors. Well, there's a metaphysical aspect of that that meant that they go to live inside of you. Now listen to this. If we take this basic Christianity or basic, if you could go from Christianity to the Book of the Dead, it doesn't matter. We know that all of that is talking about a future kingdom being founded. A future kingdom being founded. A future paradise being founded. A future state of higher elevation being founded. Well, if it hadn't been founded yet, then when your people died, then where do they go if there's no kingdom to be founded? You see? And Michael Talbot's book tells you this is a holographic universe. So, but you hear things as the universe or the heaven is within. So if there's no place that is founded an establishment of a higher realm, because we know that all religions and all spirituality talk about this being established in the latter part of that particular spirituality, then where do they go? They have to go inside and live inside of the DNA of you. Now, I was in Cleveland, Ohio. This is all talking about magic, because we got to demystify it to tell you where all this stuff is coming from. It's coming from outside of you and your ancestors, which is on the inside of you. Now, I was in Cleveland, Ohio about 5 years ago. About 4 years ago, sister came up to me crying and all. She said, I went to Africa. And I went to Africa, and all the Africans, I think she went to Mali. She said, oh, I went to Mali because I knew that was my roots. Traced it back. And all the Africans, they would come up to me and see me, and they get to running. She said, every last one of them saw me, they would run like I had the bubonic plague. And she said, I don't know what it was. She said, all I know is I got this mark on my chest, or like a keloid on my chest. My mama had it, her mother had it, my daughter got it. And she said, when I went to Africa, they would look at that mark, and they get to running down the damn street. She was crying. She said, I don't know what the hell to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what this is about. I said, we'll get on the spiritual plane and find out what this is about. Apparently, the science that these Africans had, that they can mark, let's say your family was a thief. Because it's a cruel thing to do for generations, but they didn't have jail systems because the fuckers had magic. You heard Dr. John Henry Clark say they didn't have jail system. They didn't need no damn jail system. They dealt with a nigga the right way proper. So, if you was a thief, they would put a mark on you in your DNA based on some magic. And that mark would be on you and your family for generations. You see what I'm saying? For generations. And apparently when some of her ancestors was thieves, and they put a mark on her, here she coming back maybe 500 years later. And they running down the street because they know what time it is. But they wouldn't tell them. So I had to break the bad news to her. I said, just keep your ass in Cleveland. Because apparently this mark on you is not a disease. It's not life-threatening. It's just, it's when you go to Africa, it's got a little bit of problems over there. You know what I'm saying? Now this is interesting because that means that they can take magic, and they can take magic and put into your DNA, and it can jump generations because it's in the molecules in the cells. So they have proven that the ancestors reside inside of you. So what is DNA and cells and genetics? They are nothing but spirits, ancestors. This is some amazing stuff. You see. And so they can have, so you know, one brother said, I got to go down to Florida and get some shit up off me. I said, man, you're the nicest brother I ever saw. So who would put some magic on you? He said, nice some stuff my great-granddaddy and them had on them. And it jumped my mama and them and came straight to me. You see what I'm saying? So that's the kind of science that they was dealing with on a molecular level. Y'all all right? Yeah. Now this is a profound thing. This sister named Sharon Carter wrote the Mark of Voodoo book. She came, you know, to Atlanta. We had her to come in, and she was over in Benin. And the most remarkable thing she did say, and I thought out of all her stuff, you know, out of all her stuff, that was the most remarkable thing she said, because she held back a little bit, because she didn't think black people was advanced enough. And she was surprised that, shoot, yeah, I had about 9 years of me. Are you crazy? So, but she said something profound. She said when she got over to Benin, Africa, she said every African in the village told her about slavery in America and in the Caribbean and in the diaspora. She said, well, how the hell would you know about slavery? She said, there ain't no books, ain't no university, ain't nothing for miles around. You see what I'm saying? How would you know about slavery? They said, no. What happened was, when some of the ancestors from this area died in slavery and was freed from the body, they would come back to home and they would tell us all about their experience in slavery. I thought that was some profound shit. There's nothing new under the sun, and I know now, never say what can't be done. So they knew all about slavery because their ancestors, once they was released from the body, they would come back home and tell them all about what they went through. That's the ones who couldn't fly home. Because some of them in slavery, here goes again, the magic was relegated to certain things. There was a time when all Africans used to fly. But then as time went on, certain amount of knowledge deteriorated and it got lost, and then it was relegated to certain families. So what happened was, in the Western Hemisphere, in the Caribbean, and in the United States, and what have you, South America, they had some families that knew the science on how to fly, and what happened was, when they got over here, immediately they flew the hell on back home. You see, there's documentation based on the people who could fly. Now you know that because how many people have dreams and they flying in their dreams? And how many people more and more now are having dreams and they're flying in their dreams? Huh? All right then. That means that that's a possibility. There's an old Richard's tale that you can take a baby fat from a human baby and rub it all over you and you can fly. You see what I'm saying? You know, we don't get that extreme, but there got to be other methods because sooner or later, because your DNA is changing on you, you're going to be able to fly. Y'all all right?